She thought she was being smart, by user Lynn Moira. Years ago, I worked in a store with multiple cash registers. I was second on call, so when things got too busy at the first register, I was called to assist. The policy was that you gesture to the next person in the other line, "Please follow me, this register is opening now." It was an older man who started to gather some of his stuff that he already put down, and this fine specimen of a human paces from behind him, throws her stuff on the conveyor belt. I mention that the gentleman is supposed to be next, but she quickly retorts with a saying that literally translates to, "Life is for the quick ones." Sigh, I'm visibly annoyed, but the older man waved his hand to me, suggesting me to let it go. As I check her out, she pays cash with a banknote. As I'm getting the change together, she realizes that she has changed to match the difference, so she doesn't get that much change in return. She mentions, "Wait, I can match it probably," and starts rummaging in her purse. I already have all the change in my hand, gently smack it down in front of her and say, "Life is for the quick ones," and smile my most beautiful grin. She stormed off and the older man gave me a thumbs up. Old lady got the ticket instead, by user secret gentleman _007. This was taking place at my apartment about 21 years ago. I was 24 back then and was living in a 18 apartment building. Probably made of cardboard and paper because the soundproofing was awful. I had this old lady and her husband as a next door neighbor. Once in a while she would call the cops on me for noise disturbance while I was listening to some music or watching a movie. Each and every time the cops arrived, they were forced to admit that my volume was not high enough for an actual complaint. But they still asked me if I could turn it down a little. This happened a good dozen times before I got pissed and asked the policeman if they were allowed to ticket someone for repeatedly bothering them for nothing. They didn't really answer, but I could tell that it was making them think a lot. That was the last time I saw the police at my door from that old B*TCH. Weeks later, the janitor told me she told him that she got a huge fine for bothering the police with false accusations. Justice served. Edit, typo, S. Dealership repossesses customer's car, customer responds by taking dealership's name, by user Shilishili. An Ohio woman who had her car repossessed by the dealership last year even though she was approved for a loan found an unusual means of responding. Since the dealer took her car, she decided to take their name. Now, according to a report by Court News Ohio, the case is headed to Common Pleas Court. According to court documents, Taya McCrary went to Taylor Kia in February 2024, where she decided to purchase a 2022 Kia K5. The finance manager helped arrange financing through Global Lending Services, GLS, which preliminarily approved a loan for McCrary, so she was allowed to drive off in her K5. However, GLS later concluded there was not enough available information to finalize the loan, according to the documents, so, a month after buying the car, Taylor Kia repossessed the vehicle while McCrary was at work. McCrary then began to explore her legal options. As it turned out, Taylor Cadillac and the Taylor Automotive Group operate several dealerships in Northwest Ohio, and began to operate a portion of their business under the name Taylor Kia of Lima back in 2012. However, McCrary discovered that the registration of the name Taylor Kia of Lima had been cancelled by the Ohio Secretary of State's office after Taylor Cadillac failed to submit a renewal application, according to court documents. So, she registered Taylor Kia of Lima in her own name. Once that was done, documents reveal she sent a cease and desist letter to Taylor Cadillac and informed them they could no longer use the Taylor Kia name because it was now registered to her. Then the legal battle started to heat up. Court News Ohio states that in June 2024, she filed a complaint against Taylor Cadillac and GLS in Allen County Common Pleas Court. She alleged the companies violated the Consumer Sales Practices Act, and she claimed fraud, conversion, and unjust enrichment by the dealership. She also sought an injunction prohibiting Taylor Cadillac from transacting any business under the name Taylor Kia of Lima without her consent. During the initial car purchase, McCrary signed a document that was an agreement to settle legal matters with Taylor Automotive Group through binding arbitration. Taylor Cadillac said because of this that the case should be handled through arbitration and not trial court. The court agreed and dismissed the case, but McCrary was not giving up. She then appealed to the 3rd District. The 3rd District ruled that although McCrary signed the agreement to settle legal matters through arbitration, that was limited to the transaction of the car sale. The claim to use the name Taylor Kia of Lima was not subject to arbitration, as it had nothing to do with the Kia purchase, so the 3rd District reversed the previous decision of the Common Pleas Court to dismiss the case. The case is now headed back to Common Pleas Court for further proceedings. Sharing my dad's petty revenge trick, by user Playmade37. I once saw a neighbor littering on purpose in my building's garden. She basically threw some trash that was in her car into our hedge. So I picked the trash and put it on her windshield and lifted the wipers, thinking naively that she would know someone saw her and use the trash can. Next morning, the car left but the trash was laying on the parking spot. So I picked the trash up again and this time I took it home. A couple of days later, I saw the car again. I live in a densely populated area with many buildings. I don't know exactly where she lives, so I decided to ask my dad for some advice. See, my father is a really vindicative person but at the same time prudent. He once followed some hole who cut an elder lady at a gas station queue just to deflate his tires. Anyways, I asked him what can I do to her car without damaging it but to make sure she'd be annoyed as hell, and he shared me his petty zit but harmless trick. Take a large zip tie, tie the two wipers, in lifted position, together, and tighten it as much as possible. I'm pretty sure my neighbor lives in a building so she likely had to take the elevator back home to get some scissors. She was probably late for work that day. Of course I left a note in the trash. I'll never know if it ended up somewhere else but the note stated that if I were to find the trash again I'd make damages next time. Pretty sure she's paranoid now. All of this to say, this is a simple but effective way to annoy someone. I shared the trick with friends who had someone parking on their reserved spot. They used it effectively. Since the most common story I see on this sub is their neighbors parking in front of their driveway, I figured I'd share it to y'all as well. Enjoy, smiley face. How my friend got revenge on his abusive ex, by user my_fair_ladies 1872. My friend of 47 years was in an abusive relationship for many years and he has finally gotten out of the situation. His ex, like abusive exes do, is making things difficult. My friend goes to an LGBTQ campground every year for his birthday, so of course this year he told the ex he was going in an effort to make sure he didn't stay there on the same weekend. Ex basically says fuck you, I am staying there that weekend. Now for reference, there is a court order forbidding contact between them, so if ex goes to the campground, friend can't go because of that order. So, my sweet friend, in a moment of revenge, booked a site at the campground for the entire month of August. He then called the police and notified them that this would be one of his addresses this summer so they are aware that ex can't be there. Now ex can't camp there at all this summer. I haven't heard an update regarding how his ex reacted but man, I would love to see it.